Welcome to Profiles in Leadership. I'm Jack Myers. My guest this week is Luisa Diaz, founder of the Luisa Diaz Foundation and the Mi Amor Gala. Luisa, I'm so happy you've joined me today.
Thank you, Jack. It is a great honor. Thank you for the invitations. So I am so excited to have this conversation with you. And also, I wanted to congratulate you on your new book. Congratulations.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. There's a lot of connection between the work you're doing in with the kindness is cool theme behind the Mia Morgala and the Tao of Leadership, which I've written, which focuses on leadership models for the future. And of course, kindness is at the core of so much. But before we get into
And
that,
it's cool.
kindness is cool. Let me share a little about you. Luisa Diaz, in her introduction of her book at Amazon, and her book is Sexy is Timeless 10 Timeless Sexy Assets That Lie Within You. Uh, but you believe that in this day and age of transformation from a male dominated society to a female dominated society, women can be taken as seriously as their male counterparts in the corporate world. And you became a television producer, a talk show host in Venezuela, and then in Los Angeles and other cities in the United States, a philanthropist, while still putting your femininity forward and taking charge, like you like to say, while wearing lipstick and high heels. And you're using that advice, of course, using that experience to give advice to others. Since you wrote the book, Louisa, there's obviously been a lot of dynamics in society that I'd like to talk to you about. But before we do that, tell me a little about your background growing up in Venezuela, your influences, and what brought you to the United States.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that great introduction. Yes, I grew up in Venezuela with my beloved grandparents. So I am, I love my grandparents. So my grandmother, she has 15 children, 1 5. I know. And I was the baby. I was the granddaughter, and I grew up with all my uncles and aunties, which they were like my brothers and sisters. So I grew up in Venezuela in a big family, humble beginnings, but full of dreams. My grandmother was a very strong woman. And my grandmother didn't have a chance to do anything except raising children. And one of the things I wanted to do when my grandmother, when I was growing up, all my uncles and aunties, they were out of the house. So it was only like three more children plus me. And one of the things my grandmother always taught me is to go and study. Education was extremely important in Venezuela. My grandmother, because she didn't have the chance to really have an education because she was too busy raising children. And she really, it was very important that I have an education. So I was a very good student, and I was one of these students that spoke in the high school. What is it called here? I still have problem with my broken English. But I was the head of the class that is,
Valedictorian.
yeah, well, kinda, yes. and and I was accepted in one of the best university in Venezuela, because of my promedio, my score, my
Mhm.
GPA. So then I have a chance to come here to America because I want to explore the world. One of the things that I didn't want to do was to get married and have 20 kids like my grandmother. I didn't want to do that. So I create I created my own life. I wanted to do things different. And I think that I always say it doesn't matter where we come from. The most important is what you want to do with your life. And we all have that power to create. And this is how I started creating my life here in America. I came to America to study. And let me tell you, Jack, when I came here, if you think I have an accent, I didn't know how to speak English at all. So I went to the university to register for classes. And of course, they told me I couldn't do it because I couldn't speak English. But I was so fearless. And I said, I didn't listen to no one. And I went, and they were right. I was not ready. So, and I have to take a test that's called the TOEFL. And it's kind of like a huge, huge test. And you have to pass the test to enter the university. And I did it second time. I studied. The first time I failed. The second time I passed, and I never looked back. And I
So
wasn't
when you say you never looked back, what came next? What was the first step of what has become an incredible career?
Well, I never looked back because I didn't stop. I was learning English at the same time was getting a bachelor in business administration was a concentration in international marketing. So it was so difficult because I remember the first class, I couldn't understand my teacher. I just hear a noise, and I just hear my teacher's mouth moving because, and I got so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. But I studied so hard. Um, you know, I look back and I say, wow, I had no idea how I did it, but I did it. And I wanted to share this story that it really motivates me about my movement that is called Kindness School. And this story is my algebra teacher. I couldn't understand very well what she was saying, but algebra is universal. So I like algebra. So I know my algebra. And then one day we have a pack quiz, and for me it was so difficult because I have to read in English, translate it in Spanish. Then after I translate it in Spanish, then I have to translate what is the meaning, what is the question, what they asking me for. So it was a whole process, like 10 minutes to trying to figure it out to answer one letter question. So I only got a pack quiz, it's only like 15, 20 minutes and 3 questions. I only have one answer. And the teacher say, Dr. Luciano, I never forget her. And Dr. Luciano say, okay, everybody give the quiz. And I say, I got horrified. I got so scared. And I say, no, 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 I'm not finished. And she said, no, Luisa, give me the quiz. And I say, no, I'm not finished. I didn't want to give the quiz because I knew the answer to the problem. And she said, Luisa, give me the quiz. So I gave it to her. And I was in a moment that I was kind of like, uh, uh, I had so much kind of, I want to explode. Like I feel like I was crying inside because I have been working so hard. And I said to her, I know, just give me a chance. So I give her the quiz and I get out from the classroom. And the Dr. Luciano, the teacher, she came after. I never forget this. It's still emotional. And she said to me, don't worry, Luisa. Don't worry. I know how hard you work. Don't worry. Um, and then she gave me a hug. When she gave me that hug, ah, remember I am alone in this country. I'm working so hard. and she just gave me a hug,
You
and
know, Luisa,
that's all I needed.
I wanna take off on that hug because it seems to me as I've attended a couple of the Mi Amor galas,
Yes,
seems to me that you've given a hug, maybe metaphorically, to hundreds, if not thousands of women who you've embraced the challenges, and expressed your understanding
yes,
as battered women that you've focused your life on supporting and reinforcing. What led you to make that transition? And I know there was a lot in between where you were a talk show host. Tell us a little about that. But more importantly, in today's day and age, when it seems so many of us just need a hug of reassurance that we're okay, what
yes.
led you to that decision to launch the Luisa Diaz Foundation?
Well, I wanted to tell you that from that hug that Dr. Luciano gave me, my teacher gave me, it really helped me to stay because I was at the moment of leaving. And that hug and that understanding and that kindness that she showed me to that foreign student that was working so hard, it really, really make a difference to me, which I have a chance to finish my career, my education. And I do not know, she knows the difference that she makes in that girl. I wish one day I can see her and tell her, but that's just the story, how it started.
We'll send her this video and you'll be telling her.
I wish, I know. So what motivates me to really create Luisa Diaz Foundation and really work with survivor domestic violence is because unfortunately I saw a lot of abuse in growing up. My beloved grandmother, I saw my grandfather abusing my grandmother, and I love both of them so much. So it was very difficult for me to talk about my grandfather. Um, I couldn't, even with the first time when I did my first event, I didn't want to talk about it. I just created this event to help domestic violence survivors, to offer opportunities that my grandmother never had. But I wanted to share with you, Jack, that my grandmother is my hero. And my grandmother was 15 children, no education, nowhere to go. She had the chance to leave my grandfather, and she never looked back. And I was 8 years old when, by then, she never looked back. And she's my hero. So what I do with domestic violence survivor is to offer opportunity to survivor domestic violence and human trafficking, opportunities that my grandmother never had because she didn't know where to go. I live that experience from a child, you know, to see the
Mhm.
pain of my beloved grandmother. And you, as a child, you cannot do anything. So the children get very affected. But we don't talk too much about the child, but we talk about mostly about the women, but the family, or mostly the children's, they really affect them. Affect them, well, for me in the positive way, which I wanted to help them and give them opportunities. But sometimes that child who saw the abuse become an abuser, or sometimes that child who saw the abuse, is want that the abuse in their life as well, without knowing why they always choose an abuser in their life. So it is a different situation that can happen with a child who sees a lot of abuse.
You're, of course, hosting the Mi Amor Gala this year in New York City on May 6th. You've honored me with the Kindness is Cool award, which I'm very proud and honored to accept.
I wanted to really share this. It is a great, great honor, a great pleasure, to recognize you with the Kindness School Award. On May 6th. Thank you so much. You deserve it for the amazing work that you have been doing for so many years. And thank you for including me. And I'm so honored to have you at the Met Gala receiving the Kindness School Award.
Well, there are many other honorees, and of course, the event itself is a real tribute to the women who you support, who are there to support you in return, and their stories are extraordinary. And one of the things this year that makes this event especially important is your focus on the fact that in the time of natural disaster in North Carolina and Los Angeles, you told me that there is an increase in the abuse of women. Tell me about that.
Well, there is always when a tragedy happens. Unfortunately, the abuse of domestic violence increased. Like for example, during COVID, it increased so much the abuse because women didn't have the chance to leave the house. The abuse didn't have the chance to get out and go to work and do their normal routine. Now they are together. And a lot of happens, a lot of abuse, not only for the woman, but also for the children's, because now they are facing each other continuously. So it now with the fire, a lot of people lose their home. There is a lot of, they're going through a lot of pain, but also sometimes couple give each other that frustrations, bring that impotence to each other, mostly when already have been the abuse already there. It's not suddenly because this happened. No, it's already there. And what it does is kind of like open it up.
Your advice in your book, Sexy is Timeless,
Yes.
includes advising women to take back their power from this social media obsessed society. You say develop your own standards and boundaries that will help you navigate through this world riddled with harassment and abuse of power. So, talk about those standards and boundaries that you recommend.
Well, it is extremely important standards and boundaries. And I feel like a lot of people in general right now, um, they don't have a strong boundaries and a strong standards, meaning a core, a backbone is extremely important. And that's why it's so important to have that foundation since you are a child. And one of the things I can tell you, I'm so glad is um, I grew up with my grandparent because I have a strong foundation and I know where I stand and I know when to say no. When to say yes, when to say no. It's extremely important. A lot of people do not know that. So I talk about the book and it's so important to say, get your standards, know who you are. For you to know to have a strong standards and a strong boundaries, you need to pay attention to who you are. You need to take time, a little bit time with yourself and find out what are your boundaries? What do you accept from people? And what you do not accept from people? What do you stand for and what you do not stand for? Are you going to stand with someone to really offend you and talk bad about you or you want to say, excuse me, but this behavior I do not accept. You immediately standing up for yourself and you put in your boundaries. Do not raise your voice to me. I do not deserve for you to be raising your voice to me. So why you are saying that? You can do that. You can be strong with, you can have a voice, you can be strong, and still you can be feminine as a woman and embrace, because femininity is not a weaknesses. Femininity, it is a strength. We just need to know how to express those standards and those boundaries.
Luisa, the boundaries, the standards, the guides that you've set, the work you do for others is part of your DNA. It's what guides you. But I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't talk about you a bit and acknowledge that you are the currently reigning Mrs. Universe. And that evolved out of being Mrs. Venezuela, which I believe evolved out of being Miss Venezuela earlier in your career. Tell me about the experience of being Mrs. Universe.
Well, I started pageant since I was 8 years old. Beauty pageants in Venezuela are very popular. So I won my first pageant since I was 8. My grandmother used to take me to all these different pageants and beautiful gowns, beautiful dresses. And you can see now it's still on me. Everybody who knows me, they knows that I love glam, I love fashion. And so it started since I was little. Then I have an opportunity to win Miss Venezuela International, and then after 20 years, 20 something years after, now I got this chance to represent uh, my country, Venezuela, in this amazing organization is Mrs. Universe, where they work with domestic violence survivors. The platform, it is about all the contestants, they are professional women and they are very advocate for domestic violence survivors and human trafficking. And I say, oh my God. So I was invited because of the work that I do. So they found me and they said, you have to be part of this. And I said, oh no, no, another beauty pageant, but I like the platform. And I said, yes. And when I got the chance, I met amazing, beautiful, professional women. Most of them own their own foundation as well as myself. And then when I got the chance to speak about it and bring my message, because they're looking for a leader, and I talk about kindness is cool, and everybody just kindness is cool. We bring the crown, and it was an amazing, amazing experience. It was just another beautiful experience in my life. Now I had the chance to continue being an ambassador of Mrs. Universe TCP, the pledge campaign that is about women, reminding women that they are beautiful, that they are worthy, that they deserve to be treated with love, respect, and kindness. So that's my pledge, and that gives me a bigger platform to expand the message, to bring the message to the world. We just went to Japan, and where I had an opportunity as well to bring my message there. And also we are going to go to Romania and Bulgaria. So I'm going to be traveling to different parts of the world and bring my message of love and kindness, and also to women to never forget how beautiful and worthy they are and to find their inner strength.
First of all, congratulations. It's an incredible recognition and honor, and there's so many, we title them beauty pageants, but they're really pageants that recognize and honor the message and the work you're doing with the Luisa Diaz Foundation. I do have to acknowledge also that given that our audience is heavily weighted toward the advertising and media community, many of my viewers know your husband, Alan Brown. And I have to say, I give a lot of credit to Alan for not having promoted himself as Mr. Universe,
Oh, he is. He is.
although he is in many ways. But what's particularly notable right now, Louisa, kindness is cool. Kindness seems to have become a metaphor or the focus for so much today in our world, as we're moving away from acts of kindness being kind of the norm to being something that's recognized as special in a world that's so polarized. Uh, how do leaders today emphasize and prioritize kindness in their leadership approach?
You know, this is such a great question. And let me tell you a little bit about it. When I started this foundation 11 years ago, and since I started foundation was about kindness, Mi Amor Gala, it is a celebration of kindness because what we do is we celebrate the great things that individuals like yourself and organization are doing for each other and their community. Because we always hear great all the bad news, but there are so many people doing great things in this world, in the world as well, but we do not hear enough about it. We need to hear more good news. We need to hear that the amazing thing that you are doing, we need to hear that. You know, sometimes we have this belief that whatever you do, don't talk about it. I do not believe that. I believe we need to talk about it. If you are helping the children, I wanted to hear that. If you are helping the animals, if you are helping, you are working with survivor domestic violence, bringing them hope. I wanted to hear that. And the reason I wanted to hear that is because that might inspire me to say, wait a minute, I wanted to help. I wanted to do something too. So what I wanted to do, and I have created this snowball of kindness, is trying to motivate others, to see there is not all bad. We have so many great people doing great things. So I wanted you to really feel like you can do something as well. It is a celebration. So how to answer your question, it is about empathy. We need to be more empathic. How you say empathic there?
Mhm,
To have
mhm.
more empathy with each other in the workplace, in our relationships, in our everyday life. And one of the reasons we need more kindness than ever, not only in the workplace, but in every angle of our life, is because unfortunately, for the, well, I love AI. It helps me so much, but sometimes can be isolated. People can isolate themselves, and we do not need they to isolate themselves. We wanted to bring them together. So one of the reasons that kindness has become so popular is because the isolation that our society right now is going through. And it is just the beginning, Jack. And I think if we can, it is in our part to show and to bring each other together. And at the end, we are human. It doesn't matter artificial intelligence is here with us, but we are human and we need each other. So this is just the beginning of kindness. So with this movement that we are doing, Kindness School, what we're doing is promoting and bringing people together, and to really asking and to really saying, join us, join the snowball of kindness, and let's make a difference together.
So how does someone learn about both Luisa Diaz Foundation and the Mi Amor Gala on May 6th?
Well, if you want to join the Snowball of Kindness on May 6th, please go to luisadiazfoundation.org. Join this beautiful gala. It is a celebration of kindness. We are going to be celebrating 10 survivors of domestic violence, resilient ladies. We are going to celebrate their courage. We are going to celebrate their strength. We are going to celebrate, they are going to be walking through a place of darkness to one of hope and light. And we are going to celebrate everyone that is in the room that made this event happen. We're going to celebrate you, Jack Meyer, that's going to be there. I'm going to give, Jack, I wanted you to really give a message there about the importance of kindness in today's society. And I wanted, it's going to be beautiful celebration. I would love for you to join us and continue so we can continue this movement, and kindness is cool.
And if you'd like more information, you can reach out directly to me at
Yes.
jm@jackmyers.com, and I'll be happy to share details, and I would love you to join me there and celebrate the work that you're doing, Luisa Diaz, the work that your foundation is doing, which is so important, the contributions that your organization makes to many organizations around the nation and the world that are focused on domestic abuse. So thank you, Luisa, for joining me here today and for the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I wanted to say something about kindness. You know, kindness, sometimes people think that kindness is a weakness. Kindness, it is not a weakness. Like Gandhi said, it takes courage to be kind. Kindness, it is a strength. So I wanted to bring kindness, not like someone that is naive or someone that oh is weak and you can walk over me. No, you can be kind, yet you can have a strong boundaries, stand for who you are, because kindness is a strength. To say no is in a way that you stand up for yourself, because you need, one of the things that we forget is to be kind to ourselves. We need first to be kind to ourselves. Sometimes we are extremely unkind to ourselves. How can you be so unkind to ourselves and expect to give kindness to someone else? So start with us. Be kind to yourself. Talk to you with respect. You know, some women's some people in general, they talk so badly to ourselves. I am stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm this and that. No, don't talk to yourself like that. Be kind to yourself. Because when you are kind to yourself, then you're going to speak to others with the same kindness. So it's very, very important that kindness start with you, and then we can really pass that kindness to others, because kindness is cool and kindness is a strength. It is a strength. It is not a weakness.
Thank you, Luisa, for those for those important, emotional, and certainly heartfelt words that you not only live through the work you do, but live through who you are as a person. So thank you again for joining me on Profiles in Leadership.
Thank you so much for the great invitations, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. And to all to our viewers, remember, kindness is cool, so please be kind to yourself and others.
And join us on May 6th.
Yes.